Tight ends today, guys. Top 12 tight ends. We've got your fantasy finishes here on the Frankly Fantasy Podcast. Let's roll in and see who the top 12 tight ends of 2025 were. Let's go! All right. Welcome to the show. This is the Frankly Fantasy Football Podcast. We are your hosts, Frankie and Johnny. Frankie, let's go, baby. We got top 12 tight ends. Another episode of our fantasy finishes for 2025. Let's go, baby. Top 12 tight ends, man. Now, I know most guys are looking at going, tight ends, I don't care about tight ends. Listen, guys, these are difference makers for you, okay? Especially if you're in shallow leagues. 8, 10, 12-man leagues. Tight ends, onesie positions, they're very, very important here, guys. But let's take a look and see how everybody finished here. Frankie, you ready?
Let's do it, baby.
All right, let's go, man. Let's hit with number 12, Dalton Schultz, tight end for the Houston Texans. He was drafted at number 24, came in at number 12 here, Frankie, with 127 points. All right, Frankie, so Dalton Schultz coming in at 12. Talk to me about Dalton Schultz, not just how the season was for him, but all of these guys. We're going to talk a little bit also about what are we expecting out of them in 2026 and next year's draft. Give me some on Dalton Schultz, baby.
Guys, you were really happy with Schultz. Listen, the where he was drafted, John, mid-20s to then becoming a top 12 tight end, this is something that you and I actually expected and called out earlier before the draft even occurred for 2025 for your fantasy drafts. Guys, looking at what he did, he had 106 targets, 82 receptions, 777 yards, and then 3 touchdowns. The 3 touchdowns is where he's lacked in comparison to prior years. Outside of last year, he actually had an uptick of 1 touchdown, but prior to that, he was a bit down. But overall, guys, this was fantastic. As a journeyman who started it for the Cowboys and then eventually became and went to the Houston Texans, he was a pivotal part of this particular offense, especially when Nico Collins was banged up or they were trying to get some of these rookies involved like Higgins or Noel, and they're looking to get Kirk involved. Schultz was the safety blanket for that of CJ Stroud. And man, I'll tell you what, he really looked solid this year.
He did. I mean, he was really the safest bet on that Houston Texans passing offense, you know? Very inconsistent passing offense, but it just seemed that he was the most consistent option there. Where are you looking at him for next year then for Dalton Schultz? I mean, is he just kind of in that, there's going to be a big group of guys, I think, that I'm kind of like, I'm okay with either way. You know, like I put him in that Dallas Goddard, type of tier where, these guys are going to be good. They're going to perform for you. It might not be tight end 1, but is going to be a starting tight end and could be a top 5 guy. Is Dalton Schultz kind of in that category as well?
Definitely. Guys, I could see Dalton Schultz staying right around that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mark next year, and certainly has the upside to get him too. I mean, when we start looking at the differentiator or the difference in points, from 127, as we mentioned, 127.4 for that of Dalton Schultz, and where kind of that top 5 range is, guys, he's not that far off. And so for me, John, I think you nailed it, especially when we're seeing, is Christian Kirk going to come back? Is he going to re-sign? He's a free agent after this year. Again, you have 2 rookies in Noel and Higgins that they're looking to get up to speed. Of course, you have Nico Collins, but the reality is he's been banged up. It seems like every damn year, man. At some point in time, he's getting hurt or missing games, and where the consistency lies is that with Schultz. So yes, target him, and you can probably get some phenomenal value at that point.
Yeah, and not only that, his touchdowns, you were right. There were only 3. Touchdowns were super low. For him to even be a top 12 with 3 touchdowns, that's impressive. I mean, normally you got to be 6, 7, 8 touchdowns to even land in this top, 12 here. So that super impressive, which gives you hope for next year. If that touchdown total comes up, again, he could be a top 5 guy.
And guys, again, we're talking about half PPR here. So if you're in full PPR, knowing the targets that he's getting at 106, and then he ended up having 82 receptions. Fun fact, 82 receptions is the most in his career. And damn it, John, I mean, he was a rookie in 2017, right? So we're almost talking he's been a decade into the league and having arguably one of his best overall seasons. So I'm excited to see how he continues to perform with Houston next year.
All right, let's get to our number 11 tight end here. We're talking about our buddy, the guy who's stealing carburetors and
That's
stealing
right, baby.
copper pipes out of people's houses.
Mhm.
My boy from Huntington, Indiana. He's not really. He just looks like he is. George Kittle.
Yeah.
George Kittle was drafted as the number 3 tight end here. Coming in at 11, scoring 127 points, almost identical, literally 2 yards more than Dalton Schultz. So these guys are pretty much synonymous here. Frankie, talk to me a little bit about George Kittle, baby.
Guys, unfortunately, we all saw what happened over this past weekend. Kittle tore or ruptured his Achilles, and it's going to certainly affect what next year's outlook looks like for him. So we got to stay in touch with how the rehab progresses, what he's going to look to do, if he's looking to stay on board, or if he's looking to maybe retire, depending on whatever it is. I'm not here for speculation. I'm just saying it's something that we need to be in touch with as the year progresses leading up to 2026 drafts. But here's the deal, guys. George Kittle was banged up this year. Okay, played 10 games, but the games when he did play, guys, he was second in total over all tight ends in points per game, right? An average points per game, 12.8. He's almost 13 points per game. That's phenomenal for your tight end. But again, he's only there for 10 games. Now, looking at what he did from his body of work, 69 targets, 57 receptions, 628 yards. And then he also had 7 touchdowns. So what's crazy is he's almost averaging a touchdown a game for the games that he's playing. And then when you look at his yard per catch, guys, especially for an older cat that's in his 11th year, 11.02 yards per catch. I mean, this is really, really good shit for that of the 49ers and for that of George Kittle. So the only call out here is, in my opinion, he is a surefire, if he is healthy, top 3 tight end. He feels it with Brock Purdy. He's in a perfect system with Shanahan. Shanahan and the owners love him. You can see he's a huge piece of this offense. But unfortunately, we got to see how everything pans out. So as of right now, I'm saying this, George Kittle's kind of off my board-ish until we see how his rehab goes, things like that. If he cannot go, I have Tonjes circled there. Guys, he's really performed. When George Kittle hasn't been there, he's been a really nice blanket. Certainly not as productive as Kittle, but certainly somebody that Brock Purdy can look at.
Agreed. If he doesn't retire and comes back, I mean, he's going to be a waiver wire pickup. He's likely to be on the pup to start the season, probably not till October, November to come back. So wouldn't worry about him for next year right now, but keep an eye on him. If he does go on the pup, somebody you can throw in your IR, bring him on. 12.8 points a game out of a tight end. You got to take that. It's real sexy. All right, let's get to number 10 here. We've got Juwan Johnson of the New Orleans Saints. Little surprise, top 10 finish here for Juwan Johnson. Drafted as the tight end 34. So 0 respect whatsoever. Another waiver wire guy jumping into your top 10 here. 135 total points for the season. 8.5 points per game. Talk to me about Juwan Johnson.
Juwan Johnson had a career year. And he got paid, if you guys remember, last year. And so we see the fruits of that labor coming. He's a young guy, fairly young guy. He's with a rookie quarterback. And yeah, there was some hesitation before draft day because of Taysom Hill. What's going to happen with him? Is he going to kind of be the lead tight end, or is it going to be Juwan Johnson? And what's interesting, John, I had Juwan Johnson circled as a guy that I was targeting the entire time. You don't have to waste draft capital on him. You can really take him with your last round pick or pick him up on a waiver before week 1. And he was really solid. And what's fascinating about him, he ended up having this particular year 102 targets. 102 targets for Juwan Johnson with a rookie quarterback and or a second-year quarterback with Rattler when he actually started off this season. And to have 102 targets is phenomenal. 77 receptions, 889 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns, guys. So what's fascinating here with Juwan Johnson, he's like an extremely poor man's version of a Trey McBride. What I mean by that is prior to this season, Trey McBride was not a touchdown kind of guy. Trey McBride was very much so a PPR magnet. He was getting high target volumes, high receptions, and great receiving yards. He just couldn't get in the end zone. And so that's kind of where Juwan Johnson is at this point in time. If we start seeing that uptick in touchdowns, guys, Juwan Johnson goes from a top 10 tight end to arguably a top 6 tight end if you add in another 4 or 5 touchdowns throughout the year, which only brings that to 7 or 8. I mean, I'm not talking going double-digit touchdowns. I'm just talking, kind of plateauing with where, maybe Harold Fannon is and some of those other guys. So for me, man, I really am optimistic about Juwan Johnson. You have Tyler Shugg, who's going to be coming in his second year. Saints already committed to the guy. You got Kellen Moore as the head coach, who's a phenomenal offensive mind, who loves the tight ends as well. That's actually where Jake Ferguson, etc., has really excelled previously when underneath Kellen Moore for the Cowboys. And so for me, man, I like this guy and the value you're probably going to be able to get him for your drafts next year.
I loved your Trey McBride comparison because looking at the yardage, he was third in yardage out of all tight ends. So you're right. Those touchdowns go up to, he had 3. They go up to 5, 6, 7.
Different
He's
game.
a top 3 guy.
Yep.
All right, let's get to our number 9 tight end. It is Hunter Henry of the New England Patriots. Yeah, Hunter Henry needs to be sending Drake May watches and flowers and everything he could possibly send this guy, man. Massaging his feet, anything he could do. Hunter Henry was drafted as the 18th tight end off the board. Came in at number 9 with 140 points, 5 more than Juwan Johnson, averaging 8.8 points a game. Talk to me about Hunter.
Hey, what's crazy about Hunter Henry, guys, he's been in the league since 2015.
Yeah.
Like, he almost looks like he was a young buck out there. And here, he's a seasoned vet. I mean, we're talking 11 seasons or 10 seasons. This is amazing. And guys, what's even crazier is this was his highest producing year in his career. Guys, he ended up having 87 targets, which, fun fact, that's third in his career. He had 60 receptions, which, fun fact, is tied for second. He had 768 yards receiving. Fun fact, that's first. That's best in his career. And then he had 7 receiving touchdowns, which ends up being third best in his career, all amalgamating to 12.8 yards per catch. Let me tell you, man, Drake May with Hunter Henry is something. It is something great in brewing. And I think that Hunter Henry is going to be an anchor piece moving forward for Drake May. In my opinion, man, knowing the age that Hunter Henry is, look at what Zach Ertz did for Jaden Daniels, right? And I'm looking at it last season, not this past season, but last season when Jaden Daniels was healthy. That's how I see Hunter Henry moving forward with Drake May. You're not going to ask a ton of him. He's going to be much more of the pass-catching type of tight end than a blocker. And then more importantly, in this style of offense that they're running with Josh McDaniels, they're creative as all hell. So then you layer on, okay, well, they have some young receivers. You have Stephon Diggs. Do they get A.J. Brown? I don't know. Maybe. Huh? Who knows? But all I'm saying is Hunter Henry is a guy that you can get for dirt cheap, absolutely nothing. He probably isn't even going to be a top 12 guy on the ADP list next year. So what I'm saying is, guys, when you're looking at Hunter Henry, when you're looking at Juwan Johnson, when you're looking at Dalton Schultz, you can wait. You can wait for some of these guys that are top 10, top 12 cats, and there's really not a ton separating them, again, from the top 5. So for me, man, hell of a year, Hunter Henry. Love seeing the synergy with Drake May. It's going to be fun 2026.
All right, let's get to our number 8 tight end here for 2025. It is Brock Bowers, tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders. Brock Bowers had a freak season in 2024. Absolute insane. Came in last year as the number 1 tight end. This year he's number 8. Total points of 144 points, so about 4 points more than Hunter Henry, surprising. Averaging, though, 12 points per game. And the main point here is that he only played 12 games. Came in at 8 here. Frankie, talk about it.
Brock Bowers is a surefire top 3 tight end. That's all you guys need to know next year. We're talking about a complete gutting, meaning Raiders have the first overall pick. I would be shocked if they didn't go quarterback there, whether it's Dante Moore, whether it's Fernando Mendoza, it doesn't matter. Both of those guys have experience in targeting the tight end specifically. Yep. And then you layer on whoever that head coach is going to be. Pete Carroll is not going to be the guy. So then you're saying, okay, well, what's around Brock Bowers? So you're bringing in a rookie quarterback. You have Ashton Genty. You have Trey Tucker. They really need a true receiver 1. Who's to say they don't go out and get somebody like that in free agency or make a trade, something like that? And for me, man, even if they don't, that raises the stock even higher for Bowers because he's going to be the surefire number 1. Think of him as Travis Kelsey years ago, before really the Chiefs had anybody at the receiver perspective. That's where Brock Bowers is. If he plays all year, I mean, John, it's not crazy to say he could be pushing Trey McBride for that number 1 spot if he plays every particular game and stays healthy in every particular game. And the craziest part is he's on a way shittier team. So for me, man, lock up Brock Bowers. You're probably going to get some excellent value on him next year, knowing that he's been hurt and banged up, and he performed as number 8 tight end in half PPR. So if you can get him as like that 5th overall, maybe you see Harold Fannon move up, maybe you see Goddard move up, maybe it's Pitts, something like that. You can get some gold value. I'm telling you, you're going to be really happy with it.
I agree. All right, let's get to our number 7 tight end here. My champion.
Yeah.
Rookie. Let's go. Rookie tight end in the top 7. Tyler Warren of the Indianapolis Colts. Got to love that. Tyler Warren was drafted at number 9, came in at number 7. He definitely performed better than we hoped. 145 points, just 1 point ahead of Brock Bowers, averaging 9.1 points per game. I know where you're going with this, Frankie. My guy should have been a top 5 guy.
Should've.
Please explain why he wasn't.
Guys, Tyler Warren was a surefire top 5 guy. And I'll tell you why. Because when we start getting into the top 5, you're going to see a discrepancy between 150 points, which is where number 5 is, and 145 points, which is where Tyler Warren is. Guys, we're talking 5 points over the course of the entire season. Yep. So what I'm saying is Tyler Warren, if Danny Dimes does not get hurt, Tyler Warren is a top 5, top 3 guy. And I don't even think it's like close. Right. Like Danny Dimes targeted the hell out of him. Once he let go, or once it became Phillip Rivers or Riley Leonard or whoever the hell else was at quarterback there, it fell off. And it became more of a receiver threat or hand the ball off to JT. And reality is defenses started keying on the quarterback. So looking at what Tyler Warren did, guys, 112 targets. Pause. 112 targets for a rookie tight end. John, in the rookie review, my comp to him was Dallas Clark. Dallas Clark was a perfect comp based on the way Tyler Warren played. And then you look at the receptions. He had 76 receptions, 817 yards, 4 touchdowns. But here's what else was fascinating. He's a dual threat kind of guy, meaning he's also getting rushing attempts. He had 6 rushing attempts, and he also had a rushing touchdown. So for me, man, this guy is super smart. Very good from a blocking perspective, great from a pass catching and route running perspective. And again, had Danny Dimes not gotten hurt, he was a damn near top 3, top 4 guy, and it's not even close. So where you're going to have to draft Tyler Warren, though, I see a premium on him. This is going to be a bit different from the other guys because let's say the Colts re-sign Danny Dimes. We know where this is going to go. So in my opinion, probably coming into the year, Tyler Warren's probably going to be around tight end 7, tight end 8, something like that, tight end 6. And so you're going to need to think about, okay, am I going to target somebody like that? Or am I going to wait a little bit and go for like a Hunter Henry, Juwan Johnson, Zach Ertz or Rondé Gadsden, whoever it is. But that's something for you to decide. But either way, he's a guy you want on your team heading into 2026.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's get to our number 6 tight end on the year. It's Jake Ferguson, one of our favorites. Turd Ferguson, there he is. Tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, Turd Ferguson was drafted at number 13, came in at number 6, 146 points on the year, 1 point more than Tyler Warren. We talked about this.
Yeah, we did.
9.1 points per game, exactly the same as Tyler Warren. I mean, these tight ends, man, there is literally a catch or 2 that separates this middle group here. Talk about Jake Ferguson, buddy.
Guys, Jake Ferguson had a career year, and it's crazy. Like, this was quietly the year of tight ends. And we're not talking the big 3. We're talking consistently, John, from like 2 down to fucking 10. I mean, we're talking, this was the year. When you look at Jake Ferguson, he ended up having 102 targets, tied for record high. He had 82 receptions, which is 11 more than his second best season. 600 yards receiving, and ended up with 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns. Awesome. Guys, before that, he had 5 as his highest, so he almost doubled that. And what we saw, this was with CeeDee Lamb. This is with George Pickens. This is with a very good rushing attack with Javonte Williams. And the key is Dak Prescott can absolutely provide not just 1, not just 2, but absolutely 3 options, which is very rare for a quarterback. So looking forward, guys, this is what I was talking about early on. If you want to wait in your drafts in 2026, this is the time because you can get immense value from what from what, instead of reaching for a particular tight end, you can wait, sit down and chill out and target some of these other guys that are, we're talking, John, you mentioned it, a point difference, a half a point difference from fifth to fourth to sixth to seventh. They're all in the same bucket. So for me, man, Turd Ferguson is one of the guys that I will continue to have circled, absolutely will target. I want every particular piece I can get on this Dallas Cowboys offense.
I mean, you think about this, Frankie, everyone we've talked about from Brock Bowers up, one touchdown puts them at number 2 or 3 on this list. I mean,
yes.
That's during the entirety of the season too. So that's how close this list is, man. It's tight. It's tight.
It's tight.
It's tight. All right, let's get another rookie on here, Frankie.
Yeah.
Let's get to the top 5. Okay, we're in the top 5. Rookie Harold Fannon Jr. of the Cleveland Browns. Yeah. I love how they produce a top 5 tight end. You gotta love that. Harold Fannon Jr. was drafted as the 33rd tight end off the board. He had David Njoku, the Chief, in front of him. Came in at number 5, scoring 150 fantasy points, averaging 9.4 fantasy points per game and a half PPR. Awesome, unexpected, total surprising season for Harold Fannon Jr. Talk about it.
Guys, this is what you hope when you take a top 3 round type of guy in the actual NFL draft. You hope he comes in and produces. My Lord, he didn't just do that. He did much, much more. Guys, Harold Fannon Jr., if you watched him in high school, he's a Northeast Ohio cat. Then he goes to Bowling Green, breaks every freaking record known to man in that sense. And then you end up coming back in, and then you get him in the 3rd round. And then in case something happens, Njoku's there. Njoku is a stud tight end, but he kept getting hurt. And then all of a sudden this rookie comes in and is lights out. Man, Harold Fannon is going to be phenomenal for years to come. 107 targets, 72 receptions, 731 yards receiving, and 6 receiving touchdowns. In addition to this, he also had a very similar stat line to that of Tyler Warren in the sense of he had 1 rushing touchdown. So he's getting involved in multiple facets of the offense. In addition, guys, Browns typically were running a 12-13 personnel. For those of you who don't know what that means, that typically means you have 2 and or 3 tight ends at one particular point in time. As the season progressed, they moved away from that. And they end up going in 11 personnel, 1 tight end, and the 1 tight end was Harold Fannon, and he performed beautifully. So guys, moving forward, this is a guy that you're going to for sure be able to get for cheap, because as it stands right now, you're still having Njoku. So, depending on if Njoku comes back or not, that's right now he is, but I could see him moving on, knowing how well Harold Fannon played. If that happens, Harold Fannon's probably going to be drafted around the same kind of thing as what Tyler Warren is. And for me, I think they're pretty interchangeable at this point in time. They're just different kind of personnel. Tyler Warren's a little bit bigger. Harold Fannon moves a little bit faster. But man, oh man, what we're seeing from this rookie class across the board is pure domination from the tight end landscape.
These 2 rookies that showed up on here are super fun, man. And I think this is a new type of tight end that the league is looking for. You know, these guys are kind of like H-backs.
Totally.
They're a little bit different hybrid of tight end. You had the Sam Laporta, the Colston Loveland, the Brock Bowers. They're all in that Trey McBride type body style. You know, Harold Fannon Jr. and Tyler Warren, they can be H-backs. They can line up in the backfield and run the ball. They just do some really cool shit and have a lot of really cool versatility that I think just adds to the value of these guys. So I love it, man. Beautiful. Football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in all the gridiron action. Playing Underdog is super easy, guys. All you do is just pick your favorite players that are going to go higher or lower on all kinds of stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and so much more. Get them right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Frankie, you got any pick'ems for everybody this week?
Sure do, Johnny boy. Guys, there's 2 pick'ems that we're going to be riding into the sunset with. The first is we're targeting KW3, Kenneth Walker III, higher than 39.5 rushing yards versus that of the 49ers. And we're going to pair that with Colston Loveland versus that of the Rams to have higher than 34.5 receiving yards.
So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use the promo code FRANKLY. to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FRANKLY. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing. Get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. All right, let's move on here. We're going to go to our number 4 tight end, Frankie. This is a staple here in the top 5, man. Number 4 tight end is Travis Kelsey. Taylor Swift's fiance. You got to love that. Yeah, I can't wait till we can stop saying that shit of the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelsey, a little disrespect this year. He was drafted as the 5th tight end, came in at number 4. So, yeah, there you go. He's not ready to let go yet. 152 total points in fantasy. That's 2 more than Harold Fannon Jr. 9.5 points per game. Talk about Kelsey.
I mean, John, are we at the point to where we're looking at him as a top 3 tight end, top 2 tight end of all time? I mean, he's got to be up there with Gronk and Gonzo, right? Yeah. Tony Gonzalez. And for me, guys, I mean, this is something that we hit pillar of consistency. Since really 2016, he's only been outside of the top 5 one time. Think about what I just said. That's incredible. Now,
10 years.
10 years. 9 years, 10 years outside of the top 5 one time. Guys, in addition to that, when you look at where his fall off has been, it certainly hasn't been in typical quintessential, per se, production. He's still at 108 targets, 76 receptions, over 800 yards receiving, and his yards per catch, phenomenal, 11.2 yards. But it's the touchdowns. And we've seen a very heavy decrease over the last few years. I mean, when we look at 2020 with 11, 2021, he had 9, 2022, he had 12. And then 23 he had 5, last year 3, this year 5. I mean, that's where a lot of the drop-off has been. So for me, man, I don't know if he's going to come back. Looking at 2026, he could hang it up this year. And if that happens, dude, I don't know if there's been a more fun tight end, at least in my lifetime, outside of Gronk to watch. It has been absolutely phenomenal. Pillar of consistency, insane competitive spirit and what he brings each and every day. And from a fantasy perspective, I mean, I think all of us in the fantasy community can say how fun it's been if you had that Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey stack and you're freaking out, you know. But moving forward, guys, if he does come back, he's probably going to be a top 10 guy. I don't see him actually being top 5. I think based on what we're seeing, based on Rashee Rice, based on Xavier Worthy, they're probably going to get a good running back this point in time. And I just
based on not having Patrick Mahomes for
correct
much of the beginning of the season, for sure. So
correct.
Right. You know, that changes things.
Dude, it totally changes things. So for me, guys, I just am looking at this and want to make sure I'm level setting and being real. Draft him only if there's value there. If he's still listed at number 5, why? Why draft him there? Wait, get a better piece that's probably around 6 or 7. Get a better piece way later in the draft. We mentioned Travis Kelsey, 152 total points for the year and half PPR. Harold Fannon at 33 had 150. Jake Ferguson at 13 at 146. Tyler Warren, 145. Brock Bowers, 144. Hunter Henry, 140. Guys, what I'm saying is there is not a big enough drop-off for you to reach just because of the name. So level set your expectation walking into 2026. He's probably still going to be a top 10 guy, but I would bet money on it he's probably not going to be a top 5. So with that being said, it's been an honor, Travis Kelsey, for these years, but I think it's time to pass the torch.
It is, and this is the tight end position is definitely, you talked about quarterback, seeing a changing of the guard with those guys. There's absolutely a changing of the guard with the tight ends.
Definitely.
No question about it. Kittle, Kelsey might not be in the league next year. You know? I mean, just very interesting change of events here. Let's see who is the new guard now, Frankie. Let's get into the top 3 here. How about that?
Boy.
Top 3. Number 3, we've got Dallas Goddard. Dallas Goddard of the Philadelphia Eagles, kind of quietly sneaking into that number 3 spot. 3 points ahead of Travis Kelsey, 155 total points, 10.3 points per game. Double digits per game out of your tight end is it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Talk about him.
Guys, Dallas Goddard, massive surprise. And I'm going to be super real and raw with you. Very solid year. 82 targets, 60 receptions, 591 yards receiving, 11 touchdowns.
It's
Okay.
not repeatable.
Let's
That
have
is
an
not-
uncomfortable conversation here.
Let's do it right now. Yeah.
Right. Dallas Goddard, I would be shocked if he's in the top 10 next year. And the only way, in my opinion, that I see him repeating this is if A.J. Brown is no longer there, right? I think then if A.J. Brown is no longer there, Dallas Goddard is absolutely probably a top 5 guy, probably top 7 guy again. If A.J. Brown is there again, they're getting a new OC, right? They're going to figure that whole thing out. Devonta Smith had a down year. A.J. Brown had a down year. Saquon had a down year. Jalen Hurts kind of was probably right around-ish expectation. But Dallas Goddard way above and beyond, and it was strictly due to touchdowns. John, what's your favorite thing that literally, we need to get you a shirt that says it, but I want you to say, what are touchdowns?
It is not a sticky stat.
Not a sticky stat. John Hickey. Guys, that's what I'm talking about, right? So Dallas Goddard with 11 touchdowns, I mean, dude, nobody's taking that away from him. Awesome. And if you drafted him, you loved every bit of this. But the reality is, looking at 2026, just thinking of a few others, right? We're going to mention the number 1 and number 2 here in a second. But I mean, you could look to see somebody like Brock Bowers being a top 2, top 3, as we mentioned, absolutely, which would replace him. We could end up seeing something like a Colston Loveland, maybe breaking in there because we're seeing the fire being ignited in that of Chicago with him, and he's totally supplanted that of Cole Kmet. It could be something along the lines of George Kittle comes back. I mean, shit, it could be anything like a Harold Fannon. Depending on how things work, he could end up getting there with Tyler Warren. What I'm saying is knowing that he scored 155 total points. Phenomenal. But that was based on 11 touchdowns. You take 6 of those away. Let's take 5 of those away. That's 30 points. Okay? Let's just do bare bones, not even including the catches, not even including the yardage, just points for the touchdown. You remove 30 points from Dallas Goddard. That brings him to 125. Guys, to put that in perspective, he's not even top 12.
Right.
Not even top 12. And so what I'm saying is, great year, prolific year by Goddard, level set expectation. Don't go in just assuming that this is the guy that's going to repeat this, especially when, by the way, man, we haven't talked about it. Tucker Kraft, he should be in the top 3, top 4, top 5. By the way, he ended up having, John, 12.7 points a game, but only ended up playing 8 because he went on IR. Same thing with that of, we mentioned Brock Bowers, and the other guy, again, just talking about Kittle being 12.8, man, which was number 2 points per game. If he's healthy all year, you certainly see him superseding that of Dallas Goddard. So again, draft at your own risk, but there may be better value out there is what I'm saying.
Yeah, don't draft a guy trying to repeat touchdowns. There's very few people who can do that. Jalen Hurts is a guy that you can do that with, and James Cook. Okay, we get proved wrong every single year with that. But I'm not doing that with a tight end. Not on a tight end with so much talent on this team.
No way.
This was situational. You're right. This passing offense is struggled hard. OC is going to be gone. Is he already fired? I'm not even sure yet.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah, but Dallas Goddard, he's still a super solid guy. He's got a great relationship and connection with Jalen Hurts. So I think he's definitely got tons of value. I don't see him coming in at 3 again. You're right. I've got Goddard's kind of in that Jake Ferguson, Hunter Henry, Dalton Schultz category. Those guys are really all kind of the same to me. So if you can, he's one of those guys you wait on. If you're not taking a tight end in those middle rounds, 6, 7, 8, and you want to grab talent there, which you should, wait on them and grab Goddard, grab Hunter Henry, grab Dalton Schultz, grab Ferguson. Those are the guys that I'll target later in the year. And you could even grab 2 of those guys and see if any, which one hits, play that game, So I'm with you, man. Great season, Dallas Goddard. Don't see it repeating next year.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to number 2 here, man. Our number 2 guy. All right. We got a lot of shit for this one. We gave this guy some love in the offseason, pre-draft.
That's right.
Pre-draft, and took so much shit on YouTube. Some of these guys are brutal.
Ruthless.
Just the personal attacks are unnecessary.
I do look goofy, to be fair. So that's, I get that.
And we do say man a lot. I get it. I know. But, you don't have to go
it.
personal, okay? Just argue the points with us. All right, Kyle Pitts, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
Kyle Pitts coming in at number 2. Kyle Pitts, drafted at number 16, comes in as your tight end 2 out of the Atlanta Falcons. 158 total fantasy points, 3 more than Goddard, 9.9, almost 10 points per game. Talk to me about Kyle Pitts, baby.
Hey, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. Boy, oh boy, were we
Pitty City,
right.
baby.
We're
Let's
pit
go. We
now.
got the Pitts.
Pit now. That's right, man. We talked about it. Why wouldn't you? He's sitting at 16. This is a guy that had nobody behind him. He only had Drake London. You have Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. That is it. Darnell Mooney had an absolutely atrocious year this year. And then we knew it with Michael Penix Jr. What did we see towards the back half of the year last year? He started targeting Pitts. And so what I'm getting at is he had 118 targets this year. 118. It's about damn time. 88 receptions, 928 yards receiving, and 5 touchdowns. Guys, here's what's fascinating. His rookie year, he had 1 touchdown. Sophomore year, he had 2 touchdowns. This past year, or 2024, he had 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, and now he had 5 touchdowns. So he's going up every particular year in a touchdown. Could he have 6 this coming year? Stats data says is probably probable. But what I'm getting at is, though, guys, he is somebody, I have no idea where his ADP is going to be. It's completely dependent on what happens in this offseason. We saw Raheem Morris get fired. Head coaching candidates are interviewing as we speak. You know, that you still have Drake London there. We're not sure who's actually going to be the starting quarterback. If they're going to move forward with Penix or if they're going to keep going with Kirk. Is Kirk even going to be on this team? So I have no idea where his ADP is going to be. I would assume it's probably going to be around 10, something like that. And so with that being said, surefire value, absolutely taking him and not even thinking twice at that ADP. If you're telling me I can wait and I can get somebody that's getting 118 targets or even over 100 targets and he's tight end number 2, guys, and he's only scoring 5 touchdowns, this is somebody who there is a lot of green space to grow. There's a lot of ability to get even better. So for me, he is somebody that we are seeing get better each and every year. And he was a top prospect coming out of Florida. John, I remember his rookie year, we were like, dude, I don't know if we've seen anybody like this coming out from a tight end perspective. He almost looks like Julio Jones body build, but he has like kind of the blocking ability for a tight end, but he's running routes as a decent receiver, like a Mike Evans type. Guys, Kyle Pitts is the guy. So it's awesome to see him get better and better. If he's around that ADP of 8, 9, and 10, I'm surefire taking him and going to enjoy pitting out next year in 2026.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about Kyle Pitts, he played receiver half the time.
He sure did.
Almost 50% of his snaps, he was actually lined up as receiver. So it's not even really fair. And thank God they did this, man, because it's been brutal having Kyle Pitts. We saw the talent and what the potential could be. But, man, this year he was a receiver, basically. I mean, that's how you have to think of this guy. And when you're talking 5 total touchdowns and he still came in at number 2.
Crazy.
Frankie, 3 of those touchdowns came in week 15.
Yeah.
3 of the 5 against me. Yeah, of course I remember that. It's burned in my fucking craw because it knocked me out of the playoffs. Okay?
Which you would have gone on to win, by the way.
I would have gone on to win the Super Bowl, yeah. Kyle Pitts, I still love you, buddy. I still love you. I need a little time. I don't want to talk to you, but I need a little time.
I need some space.
I need a little space. Yeah.
It's not you, it's me.
It's not you, it's me. But I'm absolutely targeting this guy. I mean, with a healthy Drake London, he's really the other target monster on this team. With Bijan, there's so many people you got to worry about that Kyle Pitts is running Rushshaw all over. Wait, Rushshaw?
Did you just have a Frankism?
I just did a Frankie moment. Roughshod? No,
wow.
Man, that's a word that's not
Rashard.
real. No, that is, stop it. You're making it worse. He's going to run all over the goddamn field is my point, guys. Sorry, I had a Frankie moment. But yeah, I will be targeting Kyle Pitts. He's a guy that I will look in middle rounds and find the time to go grab him. Yep. You know, when do I go grab him? Is it going to be around 5, 6, something along those lines? I'm guessing is where it'll be. He's a guy I may go target depending on my roster construction, for sure. All right, Frankie, let's get to our number 1 boy here, man. Our number 1 guy.
Child.
That's right, number 1 with a bullet, as I like to say. We've got Trey McBride, drafted as the number 2 tight end. He came in at number 1, man, and I got to tell you, It wasn't even close, Frank. Trey McBride, number 1 tight end for the Arizona Cardinals, 242 fantasy points. Let's pause right there. Kyle Pitts was number 2, 158.
Holy
Trey McBride, 242. Okay, we're talking, he beat all the other tight ends by 100 points, Frankie. Just
That's
about
insane.
there, man. I know. 15.2 points per game. 15 points a game for your tight end. He was my tight end, and I loved him all year long. Talk about my boy, Trey McBride.
Guys, Trey McBride was sensational. And here's the thing. Here's the call out that I want to hit on, okay? Week 6 is when Jacoby Brissett took over. Leading up to week 6, he only had 1 touchdown, okay? He was getting targeted quite a bit. He never exceeded over 100 yards one time. He never exceeded really over 78 yards one time in the first 6 weeks. And then Kyler Murray goes out, Jacoby Brissett comes in and skyrockets Trey McBride. Guys, so much so that Trey McBride, again, you got to think about this. He's been in the league since 2022, so this was his 4th overall year. Last year, he was tight end 2 or 3, depending on where he ended up in your league. This year, he was surefire number 1. Here's what's absolutely mind-blowing. 169 targets. 169 targets, guys, for a tight end. Okay, and mind you, there's Michael Wilson on this team. There's Marvin Harrison Jr. on this team. There is a rotation of multiple backs on this team. And guys, to get 169 targets for your tight end is nothing short of miraculous. And it's not like this is outside of his purview. This is the first time he's ever done this. Guys, last year, 147 targets. 147. This year, 169, 126 receptions, 1,239 yards receiving, and 11 touchdowns. Guys, before that, he had 2, 3, and 1. Jacoby Brissett truly unlocked Trey McBride. So much so, man, I think it might be hard for the Cardinals to actually go away from Brissett. I think this is a guy that really came along and totally ignited this entirety of the offense. If they would have had any sort of anything from a running back perspective, right? Remember, James Conner went on IR, and then Trey Benson went on IR, right? And then you got DeMercado that got banged up, and Bam Knight's getting banged up, and you got to go with Michael Carter and bring in this dude. They were all over the damn place. But the one thing that remained consistent was Trey McBride. John, you got to say it, man. When you compare what he did to the receivers, talk about where he would end up.
I'm looking at it right now. He would have ended up just ahead of Jamar Chase, right? Am I right?
Think about that. That's crazy.
He would have been the wide receiver 6, Frankie.
That's crazy sauce. Guys, to put it in perspective, Jamar Chase, 231 fantasy points and half PPR. Okay? And Trey McBride, 242. Guys, George Pickens, receiver 4, 244. Trey McBride was 2 points, less than 2 points off of being a top 4 receiver. And again, we're talking over the course of the entire year.
How many targets did you say again for Trey McBride?
169 targets.
Only 2 receivers in the entire NFL had more than that, Frank. Jamar Chase.
Puka?
No. Puka Nacua had 166 targets, dude. He had more targets than Puka Nacua.
Wow.
And JSN. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 172 and Jamar Chase had 185. So he had the 3rd most targets of all receivers.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
I mean, so John, looking at 2026, man, I mean, knowing that there's going to be, let's be honest about ourselves, because when we start looking at the draft, okay, there's going to be Brock Bowers, there's going to be Trey McBride, Sam Laporta's coming back, Tucker Kraft's coming back, TJ Hawkinson's probably going to have a little bit better of a year, right? Colson Loveland's going to be there, Tyler Warren, Kyle Pitts number 2. Is Trey McBride the surefire number 1?
I mean, Brock Bowers was the surefire number 1 this year.
Yep.
You know, Sam Laporta was the surefire number 1 the year before that. Teams change. Tight end is difficult because tight end is fickle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very fickle position, and it depends on the scheme and the offensive coordinator. It depends on the quarterback tendencies. There's just a lot of factors there. Depends on injury, obviously. Brock Bowers, clearly would have been a top 5 guy or better had he, only not played 12 games.
Sure.
So there's a lot of factors involved, but you cannot count out and discount what Trey McBride has done and is doing. Trey McBride has always been, over the past couple of years, he's been the Travis Kelsey light.
Yeah.
He has.
Yes.
He's almost been that guy. Now that Kelsey's not the guy anymore, I think Trey McBride is. I mean, there's no reason to believe. We're talking the last 10 games of the season, I don't think he had less than 8 targets in a game.
It's incredible.
If that kind of thing continues, which there's no reason to believe it won't, you're not looking at a new coach. You're not looking at potentially, I bet they bring Brissett back. I bet they get rid of Kyler Murray and they keep Brissett there and try to build around until they can draft a quarterback. So if that's the case, yes, I'm taking Trey McBride number 1. And yes, I'm taking Trey McBride. I'm looking at him as a receiver.
Are you looking at him first round? Because you're going to have to take him back after first.
There is no problem for me for someone to take Trey McBride first round.
I agree.
There isn't, especially if it's in the back of the first round or on the turn there. Because again, he returned wide receiver 6 value.
Dude, wide receiver 5 and almost 4. That's what's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. So when you're almost the top receiver in the entire league, you've got to look at that in the first round. Forget about the position. Yep. Go for fantasy points here, guys. Yeah.
And John, to your point, this is something I've never even seen. Trey McBride never had less than 7 targets a game.
All season long.
All season long. Every single game he played. Think about what I'm saying. He never had less than 7 targets a game. Guys, it's so ridiculous. He never had less than 4 receptions a game. This is a tight end. Yeah. This is truly incredible season.
That's where you can put, I think it's going to be Brock Bowers, Trey McBride.
Yeah.
Because these 2 guys are the centerpieces of their teams. You can't really say that about any other tight ends.
No.
Most of the other tight ends have established guys around them. They get lucky, like Dallas Goddard did. They got 11 touchdowns. You have to get the touchdowns in order for these guys to be. Trey McBride, you don't need that, man. Not with 169 goddamn targets. The touchdowns, they'll come. And that's what we said last year. I think he only had maybe 3 touchdowns last year. It was real low.
Yeah.
And we said, you know what? Look at these statistics. This guy is a fucking receiver. Just what I said about Kyle Pitts. I said, draft this guy because touchdowns can go up, especially if they're getting that many targets. It's statistically impossible for them not to go up. You're going to have more touchdowns there. So, and he did it this year, man. He's right there. Monster season.
Monster season.
All right, guys, that is your top 12 tight ends. Actually, a lot more fun than I was expecting.
A lot more fun,
okay,
man.
Yeah, these tight ends are fun to talk about, man. Let's go. All right, guys. Frankie, what else we have happening here, man?
Guys, next week, we're dropping the receivers. We're going to be diving into the top 20 receivers. Tune in, because what we're going to do is we're going to tie in how they performed and what's 2026 looking like. And then hold on. We're also going to be checking out the week after, guys, the last week of January. Johnny and I are going to get together and we're going to drop absolute fucking gold for you. What do I mean by that? We're going to dive into where do we start seeing some of these top guys for 26 and what are some of the expectations? Is there some hesitancies? Like, where do we start seeing some of these guys? Maybe some early on strategies, some early on indicators of ADP. We're going to start breaking that down to give you the taste as we start heading into the combine and then following that, the NFL draft. And then fellas and women, we're right back into it, getting you ready for the 2026 fantasy football drafts.
Let's go. We're just going to give them a little taste.
Just a little taste.
Have a little taste. You're going to want more.
Go to Costco and get you a little sample.
May the fantasy gods smile upon you. Bye.